why your views matter.
रेडियो जिंदगी 1170 AM पे वेलकम लिसनर्स, मैं हूं आपके साथ ईरा। शो लेके आए हैं आपके लिए द शाह पीराली लॉ शो। यस, इट्स टाइम वंस अगेन व्हेन वी आर जॉइन्ड बाय अटॉर्नी शाह पीराली ऑन एयर विद अस. Attorney Shah Peerally is the founder, president and managing attorney of the Shah Peerally Law Group, which is right here in Newark, California. He is a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association as well as the State Bar of California. He is a passionate advocate of human rights, civil rights, social action and social services, and he has a strong interest in and knowledge of the political legal system in the U.S. He formed his law group to focus on the causes that he feels most ardent about. His law group focuses on immigration law with an emphasis on employment-based immigration, and that is why they are also able to help their clients all over the U.S. Listeners, यहाँ का ऑफिस जो है वो न्यूयॉर्क में है. There is an office in San Francisco and then there is an office in Washington DC. So without any further ado, let me welcome Attorney Shah Peerally to the show and also remind you that listeners, if you need to ask him any questions right now during the show, the call lines are open, the studio lines are open. आप कॉल कर सकते हैं अपने किसी भी इमिग्रेशन के लायक सवाल को लेके, खास करके अगर वो एम्प्लॉयमेंट बेस्ड इमिग्रेशन है तो आप फोन कीजिए 510-657-1170 पर. दैट्स 510-657-1170. एम्प्लॉयमेंट बेस्ड नहीं है, कोई भी इमिग्रेशन का भी सवाल है तो आप जरूर फोन कीजिए. It may or may not be about, it may or may not be related or connected to today's conversation, today's topic. Just call with your question 510-657-1170. Attorney Shah का ऑफिस का नंबर है 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. और अपॉइंटमेंट लेके आप बात कर सकते हैं फोन पे. वेबसाइट है उनकी peerallylaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW, peerallylaw.com. इस वेबसाइट पे आपको सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल जाएगी कि उनकी प्रैक्टिस में आपको किस किस एरियाज में मदद की जा सकती है एंड मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन about how they can help you. तो फिलहाल let's go ahead and speak to Attorney Shah. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for the intro. And today, of course, we're going to talk about immigration. First of all, I wanted to again thank all the listeners. The show is going on its 11th year soon, and it's been going on strong. And a lot of people call and actually encourage me to continue the shows, and that's what actually keeps them going. It's usually it's always the audience, right? So as long as we know people are getting help, we try our best as much as I can. And just before I start, of course, anything I'm going to tell you today, and I usually tell you that, is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. And today, Ira, we're going to discuss a little bit about this bill that made through the Senate. As you know, there was the Fairness for High-Skilled Immigrant Act, which passed the Senate, and which basically will increase the per-country cap and increase also the limit for family petitions. So both employment-based and family petitions, that means the quota will be increased, allowing more people, especially for India where there's a backlog. So that's one good news. Unfortunately, it's not such a good news until now because there are two versions that came. One came from the House. As you know, that we have a bicameral system. That means we have two houses. One of them is basically the House of Representatives and the other one the Senate. The House of Representatives passed one bill a few months ago and then it went through, but the Senate was not happy with that. So they changed it and they passed their own. Now they will have to come into what we call an agreement and basically decide to meet in the middle. And after that, then it has to be signed by the president. And we don't know who's going to be president at that time when it goes through. And again, I always say that hopefully Biden will take power. And we saw now pretty much the chances of him taking power is very high. As much as we are seeing Trump still claiming he won the presidency and they have all those lawsuits. In fact, he lost 51 lawsuits that's kind of an amazing thing, losing 51 times on the same key and the same elections. So now we have one case which is coming from Texas, suing basically other states. And just as a reminder, I don't think this will hold. I don't think the Supreme Court will hold. In fact, yesterday the Supreme Court, first time in my career I've seen the Supreme Court just denying to look at a case with an unanimous kind of decision when 9 judges just put one line, we deny this. And this is very rare because they usually put a dissent, they usually put an explanation why they turn it down, etc. In this case it was too obvious, so they just turn it down, which is good news because everybody was scared a little bit about the Supreme Court. The fact that 3 of the judges there were nominee of Trump. So all those things happening, and just to give people a little bit quick feedback on the legal side of it, what can we expect now next? Well, hopefully Biden will take power. On the 14th, the Electoral College is going to certify, basically vote, and hopefully they usually will vote what the people have voted, and then ultimately in January you'll have the Senate and the Congress deciding to accept those votes. Now, this is another issue that we will have to deal with. But at this point in time, we're expecting Biden to take power on January 21st, and a lot of things are going to happen. For example, that bill, which will allow a lot of people to get out of the backlog. Now, hopefully, if this goes through, things are going to be good for people from India. Now, the question is, of course, what is the final version? We will not know, unfortunately. Now, I know there might be lawsuit also on that, so be ready for that, because a lot of other countries are not very happy, because if they're going to take the quota from other countries to give to India, which it will disproportionately affect the other countries out there, because the quota, when you add it for many other countries out there, is still, they're getting the same when you add all those countries to give to, because India has a lot of application, and it's normal, because the population ratio of India is pretty much China and India are 1/3 of the world population, right? So that's why it is causing a lot of issues, and the allotment is becoming a little bit tricky, and that's why we saw going back and forth. Now, going back to this fairness bill, I'm not going to go into these details, because if I give people information like many people are doing, they will rely on that, and I cannot give you information until we have a final bill and sign into law. So be patient, because a lot of people ask me to talk about that, so I'm just kind of talking about it quickly, because you will see many people will get confused, because a lot of lawyers have been writing about the effect of this bill. But if the final bill is not that, they might rely on the old news and think this is good news. So be very careful on that. So until a bill is final and signed by the president, and plus it's accepted, we cannot really count on this. And unfortunately, from my experience within the last 16 years been practicing now, I've seen bills like that coming up, and then on the final, just when it's going to become law, it gets blocked or something like that. So many times it happens. So be careful to have your hopes too much high. So just make sure that you don't rely on information which are not final. So now, bottom line, I wanted to, of course, bring that up. And I don't know if Attorney Sharif will be there later. He can talk a little bit about that, but he has not confirmed yet. He will join us. So since he has not confirmed, so I'll go ahead and talk about different issues. Now, the other thing that we talk about, I think, any questions on your side?
No, I'm good so far. I just wanted to remind listeners that if they have any questions, they can call us. Listeners, immigration को लेके कोई भी सवाल है, आप फोन कर सकते हैं. There's no question big or small, no question simple or complicated. Just call us. Try to ask your question. So even if you don't want to disclose your name, it's okay. You can ask anonymously. 510-657-1170 is the studio number. 510-657-1170. Let's go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Ira. So it is important that people know that now things are going to change, and that doesn't mean things are going to be perfect. I don't expect things just to fall from the sky. But at least one thing I know, we will have some kind of relief in situations where a lot of people were living under stress. And as such, we welcome that, and I welcome it definitely, because it's been really kind of a horrible 4 years for many people living in a roller coaster where we've seen a lot of people really kind of struggling to survive, and a lot of people have been fearful. Some have not traveled, and now adding on the COVID and that, it's created a lot of issues. So now another thing, of course, is like we have this shelter in place. I would recommend people to follow the rules, because a lot of people are ignoring that, thinking they're doing the right thing. But trust me, a lot of countries were able to really kind of get out of this. For example, Australia, some places just using the mask. So just because there is some kind of vaccine coming up, you cannot count on that 100%. So I say stay safe. Make sure you don't travel. Especially we are in end of year time, and people will want to meet with the family, etc. Be careful on that. Just as a footnote there. So now let us talk a little bit about issues that we are seeing. For one, the prevailing wage rule. Now it is final that this rule will be reversed now. The question is, will the new thing appear? And I'm pretty sure it will appear soon on the Department of Labor flcdatacenter.com website, where you have the wage wizards, where we can get the wage for H-1Bs before we file the case. And bottom line, there are so many things that will happen. And I think we have a caller. I kind of heard. No, I'm sorry.
No, we don't.
So,
I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you. So, bottom line, what we are seeing here is good news for people on H-1B, because this is something which is going to be major, because you're going to see a lot of cases which was previously denied, ultimately now not denied, but were not getting a chance because their employer was not able to hire them. And we are already seeing a lot of companies now coming back and rehiring, because now they can afford those employees, which was really very, very difficult for them based on this new wage level. And now, luckily, this is going to be out. So that's another good news. The other good news that came, DACA came back. DACA is a deferred action for childhood arrivals, for people who were brought here. For example, they were like 2 years, 3 years old before they turned 16, and they have been here, and they pretty much don't know anything else apart from America, and they have been here unlawfully present, and unfortunately they were kind of blocked by the Trump administration, and the judge reversed that. And the funny part is, like, I was looking at the news, some conservative news, and they were saying, oh, Trump reversed that. No, Trump didn't reverse that. It's reversed by the courts, and ultimately they had to abide by that. I don't know how good and bad it is for Trump to take credit or not to take credit. That's a different issue. So I will recommend that if you have a child you brought here basically before they turn 16, etc., and you want to go for filing a DACA, please give us a call, 510-744-25887. Yes, Sarah.
No, I was in agreement of what you were saying, that listeners, a lot of changes are happening in laws and bills right now. So if you need help with immigration, get in touch with Attorney Shah Peerally. He is very good at immigration. He knows what he's talking about, and you are in good hands if your case is with him. And if you need help, like he said, DACA जिसका रिवर्सल हो रहा है, अगर आपको चाहिए उस बारे में मदद, तो आप उन्हें फोन कीजिए. ऑफिस नंबर पे बात कर सकते हैं 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887, and the website is peerallylaw.com. Yep.
Thank you, Ara. So, bottom line is, like, DACA is another option. And the unfortunate part of DACA is that it doesn't apply for kids who have who have stayed legal here. And there is a push right now that they want to do something called DALA, I forgot the name, where the kids who have been here before they turn 16, for example, especially kids who are on H4 visa. Many families have come here with their children for years, and since they were backlogged on getting a green card, the children aged out. And when the children aged out, unfortunately, they don't get the chance to basically get a green card to their parents directly. They will have to wait for the father, mother to become a citizen, and then ultimately file for them. And if there's another backlog, they are not able to get it for a while, and that's really hurtful because those kids, I talk to them all the time. They're very smart and they're very American. They are very much Americanized, so they don't really know. They don't want to go back to another country because they don't belong really there, and it's very hard on them as much as they can adapt, but it's very, very hard on them. So those kids we need to find a solution for them, and in fact, this is something I'm willing to kind of work with the many of those children who are aging out above 21. I'll be glad to help push something under the Biden administration, but we have to wait because Biden has a lot on his plate, and I don't know how much he will be able to do in 4 years because there was so much damage done to everything from the economic, environmental, health. And as you know, health now, we have an issue with the vaccine because Trump didn't order enough vaccine, and we're not going to get it until June. So while most countries are going to be vaccinated, and England has already started, etc.
Yeah.
So these are stuff that will have to get really immediate attention. In the meantime, depending how things are going to work out,
when you were talking about DACA, Attorney Shah, I think it was yesterday, today is 9th, right? I think it was on the 8th, if I'm not wrong. There was a news that said that Trump administration allows young immigrants to apply for DACA protections after losing court case. What exactly would that mean? I mean, what court case? And then there was something about first-time applicants.
Okay, this is the situation. DACA was enacted during the time of Obama. Okay? It's the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival. You have a bunch of requirements that I can go into details on it. I have to go through it in a few. But first, let's just talk about what it is, so that people understand what we are talking about here. DACA, first of all, is a deferred action. A deferred action means basically the case is what we call something that is how to put it in simple terms. A simple terms of deferred action is you have a file going on, and with the USCIS or any agency, and the file is being put on the side because they don't want to work on it. And when they don't want to work on it, that means basically you are dealing with what we call a deferred action. They're putting it on the side, which means by law, when you have a situation like that, they have to give you a work permit. That's all they're doing. They're basically putting your file, relegating the file for a later time, and it has certain requirements to get under the DACA. DACA was enacted, I think, in 2015 or 12. I think 2012 by Obama. Okay, so what it did, it allowed a lot of people who came to the United States unlawfully, their children, not them, their children who were under the age of 31, as from June 15, 2012, they came to the United States. Now I'm going to give you the elements of DACA, right? Okay. And then I'll tell you what has happened after that. So, who came to the United States before they reached the age of 16, and they have resided in the United States continuously without leaving for a long time, and they were present here. They should not be having left. Okay, you cannot really leave during that time because it doesn't keep the continuity. And they were physically present on June 15, 2012, when this law was passed, and who entered without inspection. We call it EWI. They don't use that anymore. EWI, entry without inspection.
Okay.
And they don't, or they have entered legally, and their status have expired. And also they need to have graduated or obtained a GED at least, or a veteran from the Coast Guard or Armed Forces. And last, they have to have not been convicted of a felony, significant misdemeanor, 3 or more other misdemeanors, and they are not of national security or public safety. If you meet all those requirements, and I have those requirements on a page on Facebook, and also on our website, you were eligible until lately to file for a work permit. So first, you have to not be above 31, and you didn't turn 16 when you came to the U.S. You entered illegally, or you entered and then your visa expired and you stayed, and you have a GED, and you don't have any kind of felony or significant misdemeanor or 3 or more misdemeanors. You are eligible to file for that work permit. That DACA is very powerful because that work permit has helped a lot of people. I know even there's a lawyer in California who is on DACA. He's not legal, but he's on DACA. So it has helped a lot. In fact, some people even build businesses based on that. Now, the problem has happened is when Trump took power, he was quick in reversing that, stating that, okay, you cannot continue applying for that because this was illegally passed by Obama under an executive order. And they blocked it. So nobody could apply new ones. They were allowing people to renew their DACA, their work permit, those who already had it. But people who didn't have it, they were not allowing them to continue on it, to refile new one. And that's what you see yesterday on the news. Is it went through that a judge came back and say, you are not supposed to block that. How can you block that now? You have to allow this back. And a federal judge said that. There was a lawsuit and when they blocked it, and finally it culminated a couple of days ago. And now, by saying that, then Trump administration had no choice. They cannot go against the rule of law. So until they appeal or do something about it, which is not going to happen now, they had to accept it. And that's why you see Trump is accepting. It's not Trump really accepting. I don't know if it is the liberal or conservative media that is using the Trump is accepting, because it doesn't go well with his base that he's accepting back DACA, because this is one of the things he has been fighting. He called all those people illegal, etc., etc. So bottom line now, they have no choice. If you sue the government and a judge come back, say, hey, the government is wrong, they have to reverse it. And the same thing happened on the wage level. There was a lawsuit, there was 10 lawsuits on that, saying that this is exorbitant, it doesn't make sense, you cannot ask us to pay more than we would pay you a citizen that much just because they're on H-1B. And the judge agreed with them. So now it goes back to at least something reasonable that can be paid. So all those things are happening, and DACA is just one of them. And the good news is that we still had an independent judiciary where we could fight about things. And that's one thing I'm very proud of America. We as much as there are so many things happening now in a twisted way, many good things also happen because we're still a society of law. You can still sue, you can still bring a case in court. Sometimes you don't win, but at least you can really fight it. And that's bottom line what we're talking about here. DACA, now it's back. People can start applying again. People who have never applied can start applying. So, and I know a lot of people in our community, they have children like that, and they have been scared to apply for it, but now I think it's a good time to apply for it. And if you need help, give us a call, 510-742-5887. I hope that answers some of your questions.
It does. Thank you for explaining that. And listeners, once again, let me remind you, we have attorney Shah Peerally with us on air till 11 a.m. If you have any questions about immigration, any question at all about immigration, आप जरूर फोन कर सकते हैं 510-657-1170 पर. That's 510-657-1170. If you'd like to have a private discussion about your case with Attorney Shah Peerally, आप उन्हें कॉल कीजिए on 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. And the website for more information about his practice is peerallylaw.com. In recent studies, Attorney Shah, it was found that nearly 8 in 10 Americans, these were surveys and stuff, they said they now believe that immigration is a good thing for the country, and they're able to say that the public support for immigration is quite high right now. That's the public support, not really going by what the current government had been doing. And now the incoming Biden administration, they have an opportunity to fix everything, provided the Congress provides their support to them.
That's a very good point. First of all, yes, indeed, we have been saying that for ages. Immigrants do help America. In fact, everything is immigrants, right? Even the people who are here claim to be American.
And Biden administration wants to take care of the immigration policies as well, but all the damage that has been done in previous 4 years, it will take time, right? It will take time to undo those things. And I think what you were telling me, that there are people dedicated right now just to keep an eye on all the policies that are still ongoing and drafting reversals for those. And as soon as Biden administration comes into power, they will start undoing all those damages.
Definitely, we are hoping that what's been said. But definitely we have organizations also fighting.
That's true.
You have the American Immigration Lawyers Association. You have a bunch of them, and I'm very proud to be always a member of those organizations, writing my what we call in general term my 2 cents about them, and also sometimes signing on many of those petitions. When I mean signing on petitions, it's not like those petitions we're talking about like online or anything, no, but real petitions that are filed in court, etc. So this is important. Now, going back to the point that you made that immigrants really help America, it's very simple. You don't have to look very far. I look at my own office, right? I'm an immigrant. I employ a lot of people, and all my staff pretty much are all citizens or green card holders and things like that. So imagine now you take me out of the picture, right? So how many people will not have a job?
True.
So people don't see it from this angle. What they see is that, oh, you bring an immigrant to take my job. No, because the truth is that especially when we do green cards, when we put the ads, etc., very often American citizens will not have the qualifications to apply for those jobs. Is very, very rare because there is a shortage of people in many, many fields, especially in those fields that we are dealing with. Now, you definitely have some bad apples because you can't have everything perfect, right? But most of those bad apples doesn't really come from legal immigration, and not even illegal immigration. You have bad apples on everything, right? And if you look at most of the statistics, even illegal immigrants commit less crimes because they're too scared of getting burnt, right? But the truth is that the few ones who commit crimes become the norm, and they use that to really kind of scare people. For example, also for Muslims, same thing, right? You have few bad apples doing bad things, and then we all have to pay for it, right? And that's what's happening. And if you look at reality, there is in-house terrorism like the KKK and things like that, but they are not really put in this category because they are in-house. So it is really a very complicated situation. But the truth is that when you add things together, immigrants are more beneficial because America works this way. There's a lot of situations where you can look at it and you will see immigrants. If you look at the biggest companies, they are run by immigrants. If you look at many of the innovations, they come from many immigrants. And we had a good example right now. The best example that we had are those 2 Turkish immigrants in Germany who made the virus, the vaccine, right? Yeah, and guess what? This is how it works for America, and it works for countries who are willing to do that. You create a platform where people are welcome, and then you take the cream and you bring them here. And that's what America has been doing all the time. And we come, we bring the best, and what happens now is the people who are here, they don't really need to do anything. All they have to do is to keep creating that environment, and then they enjoy the rest. Because all the benefits that comes from the immigrants pass on to those people, right? And that's why you see more people are seeing this. And after the COVID, they've seen this more. After all the problems we had with the COVID, people have seen this more than ever. Immigrants step up and help. A lot of immigrants I know, immigrants organization, we had mosques, we had temples, all those that started helping. And they started realizing, hey, we're not that bad like Trump used to portray that the criminals come here and everything. But if you look at the truth is that we are not the criminals. Like one person was saying, he said, I don't mind getting rid of all the fascists, and I take refugees. In fact, that's the truth, and we are seeing the truth coming out. The problem is that many of those people, unfortunately, on the other side, they have been conditioned to think that immigrants are bad, and Trump didn't help. Not only he didn't help, he promoted that, right? During his campaign, every time he will go, he built a wall. He's saying Mexico is bringing the worst, etc., etc. But bottom line, it's not that. We can see it in the construction business. Very few Americans will want to work in that. Same farming, especially. Farming is a big thing. I love farming. I like to do it as a passion. But this is not an easy job. It requires a lot of, especially when you are a worker, not because you're doing it to enjoy, like gardening and things like that. No. Because if you're doing it for passion, you can stop, do 1 hour of work, you stop for 3 hours, then you go back, do another 1 hour. Those guys are working from pretty much 5 in the morning until sometimes 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon. And if you go in that hot sun, you can pass out. and we've seen this, and in the past, many of our ancestors, before the Spanish came, many people from Punjab and came, that's why you see people from Lodi, they came like 100 years ago as farmers. Those people have been here for a long time. People don't know that. In fact, my ancestors themselves, they were farmers back in the days. I heard, like, long time ago, they were farmers. They came to California, and then they went to Trinidad, etc., etc., and we're talking about 200 years ago. So we are not new to this land. The problem is that if you don't dig and find out about history, then you end up being history yourself. And that's another thing that is the biggest problem: lack of knowledge, hate, and if you combine and ignorance, and if you combine all this, you have a recipe for disaster. And that's why you're hearing like 70 million people saying, "Oh no, Trump, no." But remember, there are 400 million people in America. 70 million are saying they're not the majority, and the other 80 million that can vote are also, they are the majority. So what happens to the rest of the people? We're talking, okay, 150 million. There's still 250 million people out there who cannot vote, or who didn't vote, or who are kids, etc. So we cannot ignore those people either. We are in a situation where either we work with the immigrants and let it happen. Of course, we have to control our borders. We cannot let any kind of crazy people coming in. And we see that too. Many immigrants come here legally and they don't have any problem and everything, but then when they get in the U.S., they become bad people. And we have to admit that, right? We've seen that, and especially during the Trump time, many of them even supported Trump. And that's what bothers me all the time. Not that Trump is bad, it's just like, how will you do that? How do you explain that? And the truth is that they already came with preconceived opinions. They got things easy. They didn't have to struggle. So they pulled the ladder as soon as they are in. And those are the kind of people that I'm worried about, because they came in here, they basically benefited from all those liberal avenues, and then when they get here, they want to close the door, right?
True.
And that's the worst part. This is the worst of humanity, because you struggle, you made it, and you don't want other people to make it.
Just
right?
the other day, I think 2 days ago or something, a friend of mine and I were having the same discussion that they had met somebody, and it was also a room full of immigrants, all Indian families, more or less, and they were talking against immigration, and then someone spoke that aren't all of us immigrants. They were like, yeah, but we made it, we came here, and now the immigrants that are coming, their kids, they're just making the system more competitive and the competition more cutthroat. But yeah, if you made it, let them also make it, right? And now it's all merit based. I mean, now the whole system becomes merit based.
Yeah, exactly. And I had this issue when I was fighting for the H4, for example, EAD. I remember someone called me and said, you messed up the whole system. I said, what did I mess up? He said, now we are not going to have jobs. It's going to be hard for us to compete and everything. The truth is that nothing of that sort even happened. In fact, it gave a platform for people to shift from H1 to H4, getting better jobs, doing better in life. And you know how hard it is to have your spouse not working. She or he going through stress, plus not bringing in income, and sitting here and going through all those difficulties. Now things have opened. Even some of them even built businesses, employing other people, and that's the same concept. They think because and as soon as they come here, the newcomers are doing that. Yeah, of course there are bad people coming too. We cannot deny that, but. Just like the concept of law, there was one justice, I think it was Justice Williams in England, who said, it's better to let 10 guilty people walk free than put one innocent in prison. Right? It's the same concept. We can get maybe 5 bad people, but even 8 bad people, if we get 2 good ones out of this, those 2 good ones can create more good than those 8 bad that are out there doing bad. And that's a concept like most people don't understand. It's not I'm saying that because I'm an immigration lawyer. I can practice in other areas of law too, because it's not like I'm limited to immigration. I just don't like doing other areas of law. Mm-hmm. But the truth is the truth. You cannot be sitting here and it's almost like being a hypocrite, right? You can't be sitting there in America and then enjoy all the benefits, all the freedom, and then you're denying it to others, right? And that's the biggest issue that bothers me a lot. It's a big discussion, by the way, but you brought a good point. Immigrants do benefit the country, and you will see now of post-COVID, hopefully, inshallah, we will get out of this, and the COVID situation, immigrants are going to rebuild. In fact, if you look at most of the research right now, and I know because I'm representing a bunch of them, many researchers we're representing are working on COVID. Okay, you take out those people from the equation, and if those people were in their country, I'm not saying their country are bad or anything, they don't have those kind of infrastructure where they can build stuff, right? Those 2 Turkish people, even Turkey is very well advanced and everything, they had to go to Germany to come up with something because they have more advanced technology.
More, right? They have a better infrastructure over there, more available resources and all that over there, and I'm pretty sure, more support. If they are doing something, even though they are Turkish scientists who were working and they went to Germany, still Germany would support them because they also kind of get credit for that. So it's a give and take situation.
It's not only credit now. Germany is going to make a lot of money.
That's true, like stuff, everything.
Right? This is the hot stuff. It's like you're giving food when there's no food out there, right? So Germany, look at what Germany just did. Germany just created, and that's one thing people are forgetting. Germany just pretty much won the lottery, right? With 2 people accepting, and that's why you see Germany now starting to crack down on those right-wing people. Actually, Germany just passed a law where they're going door to door and arresting them. Like you have in America those KKK people trying to be smart and those right wing or far right or ultra right, whatever they call them. Germany is cracking down on them. And remember, Germany is where basically the Nazi movement kind of started. Well, not really, but 100%, but it did start there. So now we are seeing a shift in the paradigm of the world, right? I can go into this, but if you look at Japan, same problem. Japan blocked immigration for a long time, and look what's happening to Japan. He's been going on regression, and it's going to get worse. And now Japanese, plus they have a low, low birth rate in Japan. So they are very worried what will happen in the near future. So I think Japan is going to reverse the situation of immigration soon too. And this is why you see New Zealand doing very well. They allowed a lot of immigrants. Now they're closing the borders a little bit, but New Zealand did very well because of immigrants. America did very well. So just to go, we went into a discussion a little bit far, but this is very important for people to realize that immigration doesn't take people's job. In fact, it creates jobs. Now, what takes people's jobs are outsourcing. That we have to accept it, right? A lot of people, they outsource it and it gets cheaper. They want to produce there, right? And it helps the country where they're being outsourced, but it doesn't help America. But immigration does help America, and there's no question about it, and I will never kind of say otherwise unless we start doing like crazy immigration. All kind of lunatics come in, but until then I think we are in good shape. So we should continue encouraging the immigration, and at the same time we should protect our borders. Now going back to the issues of who we should let in or not, I think we have to have a different test now. Not only the test of education, we also have to do a background check what those people believe in, because we've seen this during the time of Trump, where many immigrants, like you say, are supporting all this crazy stuff, right? And those people need to be rooted out, because just like after the Nazis, the Nuremberg trial went after all those people who supported the Nazis. We should do the same too, because we can't allow people just to come and then do whatever they want and try to undermine democracy, right? So all those things we have to consider. And now another thing also I wanted to mention, the citizenship application. The citizenship application has changed. Now you have to have 20 questions out. It used to be you had to get 6 right out of 10. Now I think you have to get 12 out of 20 right. And plus the question have become a lot more complicated, and the English level has become higher. Now there's a glitch there too. The Trump administration prepared those papers and they are full of mistakes. They missed out on what it is, the history, the English mistakes, a lot of things that are, and I'm pretty sure there will be a lawsuit coming on that. But until then, if you're filing for citizenship, be ready to have a more difficult test. That's another thing that is happening, and it's happening right now. And many rules, as you know, Stephen Miller is the one who writes all those rules.
Yep.
And the guy is like totally I'm going to say it, he's a freak. Because he thinks only in terms of how to block immigrants. And he has been getting his way, and all those laws that you saw that made that basically put those kids into custody, separating them from their parents, all those rules on H-1Bs and everything basically comes from him. And he said it, he said he doesn't have much to do, that's all he does. Day and night he thinks how to mess with us. And that's been his passion, and he's proud of it. So we can go on and on if he's good or he's bad. I don't really care anymore now. But the truth is, from one person, we basically kind of seen everything going upside down. And now we are going to see a reverse of that, and it's going to take time. The reason I'm saying it's going to take time is that people are going to expect, just like a miracle, Biden is here,
all the things would be solved. He said within the first 100 days he will reverse many of the policies, but this is political promise, right? And what people don't understand, political promise and reality are going to be different. So it is important that people have basically reasonable expectations.
True. I remember you had said that you're not a big fan of Biden either, but then if it's between Trump and Biden, then of course whoever is not Trump is your candidate. So
exactly. So
yeah,
I pretty much I see things in a very different. The reason I have some issues with Biden is the fact that he is a hawk, right? He likes wars and things like that, and that's one thing I don't appreciate with him. But at the same time, I hope now with he's getting older, he will have some more compassion in terms of not going to war, and I think he will, because they are planning to actually kind of crack down on things like that. So let's see how things unfold. Now, having said that, if you have to look at the lesser of the evils, and in this case, big times, Biden is the best. And we have also Kamala Harris, which a woman I really trust because I've seen her work, and she's also a little bit a hawk, then, just to let you know. But at the same time, it is going to be better for us. At least we are not going to live so much in fear like we've been living for the past 4 years. Well, not for me personally, but for my clients. People not willing to travel, scared of things happening to them, etc., etc. Now this is going to go away. This is another thing that we are hoping we will see soon. Wow, we've been talking about this, and it's almost like the end of the show. How much time we have?
We have about 10 minutes. Let's say 9 more minutes we have. Listeners, if you have any questions, 9 more minutes. We still have 9 more minutes to go till the end of the show. You can call us on the studio number 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. Attorney Shah Peerally's office number is 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. Get all this information and more on his website, peerallylaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. Attorney Shah, before the show had begun, when you were telling me what you want to talk about, you had also said U visa. Usually we also have Attorney Sharif joining us who talks about U visa, and also sometimes we talk about O visa. So do you still want to cover that, or are we still going to talk about?
We're going to cover a little bit VAWA and U visa, because it's becoming also another interesting thing, because a lot of people in our community don't know that.
Yes, also please start, like I request when it comes to VAWA, please pass a bill and let's start a petition to change the name of VAWA, because it's not just Women's Act, it's about everybody who faces violence.
Yes, VAWA, right? That's what I was saying before. It's for spouse.
It should be called VAHA Act, Violence Against Human Act, or Spouse Act, or something, right? If it's only for spouse, then it will be VASA.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we've been saying. But as long as it serves the purpose,
it does. That's absolutely right.
That's the most important part. But going back to the VAWA and the U visa, it's very interesting because this was originally enacted. By Joe Biden in 1992.
Yep.
And it is amazing because the thing is that this has saved the lives of hundreds, I would say thousands, even maybe millions, because a lot of people it is something that we actually kind of request people to look into when they have issues being abused, whether they are a green card holder being abused by a green card holder. Then you have VAWA citizen, you have VAWA. Then if you are being abused as for example an H1B holder, you can look into, if your spouse is an H1B for example, or F1 or something, you might look into the U visa. The difference is that the U visa is not limited for abuses by your spouse. The U visa covers, I think, around 51 to 53 crimes now. These are, for example, let's say you went to buy something at a store and someone just put a gun on your head and took your money, you might qualify for the U visa. The U visa is very interesting because once you file it, it's also under a deferred action. It protects you from deportation, number one, once it's filed. At first, we have to, of course, get the signature of the DA or the police who you are helping, and that's a different issue when we're talking about the gist of how to prepare it. But what it gives to you, if we are able to file it, we get a receipt, you're pretty much in a situation where they cannot really deport you because you're in a deferred action. And that's number one. Number two, you don't get anything right away anymore because there's a waiting time, and now it's almost like 7 years. It is very gratifying when you realize you can help someone using this. I had many cases where people will come to me not knowing at all what's happening, and then suddenly I pop up. I had two examples. We got approvals a couple of months ago where they came to the office for something totally not related to the U visa. Right, they came like in my office like 5 years ago, and they came to talk about this. One was about the student visa, the other one, he was getting ready to leave. He wanted to check what he could keep here, etc., etc. And when I started talking to them, I found out because I always ask that question at the end, and I found out they were victims of crimes. We filed the U visa, they got their U visa, and soon they were going to get their green card. And those people were not even planning to stay here, and we end up going to get a green card for them. So it is also a situation where for people who are victims of crimes, they should contact us, and also they should basically kind of protect the people who are really victims, right? We have people who are victims of sexual harassment, but not in terms of, at a higher level, at a criminal level. People who are victims because they've been sold as slaves, kind of. It is another situation that is very important in the United States. We have child labor. We have so many other issues that we can use the U visa for. So if you are victims of any crime, and I said you can go on my website, there are like 51 crimes, and we have a forum on the U visa actually, not only on the U visa, but really where it's anonymous. You don't have to really disclose your name, where you can post stuff. I don't check it every day because I'm a little bit busy, but you can post there, and a lot of good members, they might answer you. Is SP Law Forum, like my initial, S like Sam, P like Peter, and for me, Shah Peerally, lawforum.com. Check it out, and please, you can write stuff there, or you can directly call us. We can do an assessment, 510-7425-887. The same for other areas of law, other areas of immigration. Right now, H-1B is picking up. If you're a company or you're an individual, you want a second opinion, you want us to work on your case. And of course, if you have a situation of national interest waiver, EB-1, etc., feel free to reach out. Give us a call, 510-7425-887. We'll be glad to help. And I think I have another 2 minutes, right?
You do, yes.
So it is important that you people have to understand that we are in a situation of COVID. It's very unique, and many people have suffered, and many people also are actually finding opportunities during those times. So you need to look for those, and it's good to run your options with a lawyer who's experienced. And at the end of the day, it is important that people actually look for options. They don't just sit down, because it's not going just to fall. And those were what we're talking about in the beginning. Now we have this opportunity with the new rules on the salary.
the wage, and also now we have DACA, and hopefully we have Biden who's going to make things better for us. So don't just give up. If you have a chance, please take the chance. Don't leave the country now. We need you here. So give us a call, 510-742-5887. Any question on your side? I think we're almost done, right?
We are almost done. We are in the last minute of our show. Actually, it's almost last minute. Listeners, if you have any questions, remember that now you won't be able to take any calls, but if you have any questions, you can definitely get in touch with Attorney Shah Peerally and his team on his office number 510-742-5887. The website is peerallylaw.com, peerallylaw.com, and the offices are in Newark, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. Attorney Shah, we have 45 seconds.
Thank you so much, Ara. And just to let people know, anything I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get updates in there. youtube.com/Shah Peerally Law, one word, SHAHPEERALLYLAW. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. We'll be back next week, same time.
Thank you, Attorney Shah. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you, listeners, for tuning. अगर कोई भी आपको इमिग्रेशन का सवाल है या आपको कोई हेल्प चाहिए, आप अटॉर्नी शाह की टीम से जुड़ सकते हैं. 510-742-5887. This is Ira signing off for now. Have a beautiful Wednesday. Stay tuned to Radio Zindagi. जिए जाओ.